Hi guys, welcome to part 3 of my little trilogy, shooting 4x5 negatives. So today we are in the darkroom again. I'm going to go very quickly through my workflow. I have made a video on making black and white prints, which goes into test exposures and some of my equipment. So I won't run through that again. This is really an overview, but I want to deal with the negatives that I shot and show you those on the light box, and then we'll print one and I'll show you it being developed, and we'll take it from there. So I've already mixed the chemistry for this session, and you can see my basic workflow here. We have developer and stop bath. I have a fixed bath 1 and 2. The first bath does most of the work, and the second bath just ensures we have a good thorough fix. There's a toning tray up there which I won't probably use today. A pre-wash tray, just a pipe running into a tray of water, running water, and then finally the prints will go across into the Nova print washer for 60 minutes. And here we have the 3 developed negatives from the developing session. I'm pleased with the negatives, good density range, look nice and contrasty. I'm going to be printing today on Ilford multigrade, classic multigrade fibre-based paper. There's my little Ilford multigrade filter set, and for this image I think I'm going to use grade 2 or maybe grade 3 just to punch the contrast a little more. So here is my DeVere 108 10x8 enlarger. Cold cathode, burns nice and cool and silent. And here's my basic setup. So I'm going to convert the enlarger very simply from a 10x8 to a 5x4. So there's my Rodenstock 300mm, which generally lives on the enlarger, but today we're using the 150 Rodenstock, which is my enlarging lens for 5.4 negatives. I can simply convert to a 5x4 format, which goes into the negative carrier and then simply slides straight in to the enlarger. So here is negative number 1, processed in the dish, which you can see in video 2, the last video. So I'm going to make it, turn it upside down, drop it onto my neg holder, and I'll just tack it down with a little bit of low tack masking so it won't move as it goes into the enlarger. We'll put that up, ready to print. There's the 10-8 lens, the big Rodenstock, pin sharp. We won't be using that today. We have the 150 Rodenstock enlarging lens, but before I put it in, I don't have a filter drawer on this enlarger. I don't think multigrade existed when it was built, so I'm going to go for a grade 3 on this particular series of negs, because the negs are pretty contrasty, but I really want these images to have a bit of a punch. So I don't have a filter system built in, so I have this very neat little set of filters from 0 to 5, giving me complete control over the contrast of the print. So finally, now the negative is in the enlarger with the selected filter, I'm going to fire up the enlarger, and the easel is set to the size of my print. I'm using 8.5 by 5.5 paper on here. So I'll focus up in the dark, and as I've already said, I'm using multigrade, Ilford multigrade classic. It's a glossy finish, but it's the classic fibre base exhibition paper. So I'm now about to do my test exposure on a little test strip. I don't use a timer, I like to use the metronome, which counts seconds, and I'm going to do from 10 to probably 40 seconds, 50 seconds. So here we go. Here we are into the dev. Image is appearing after about 25 seconds. So don't forget, this is a high key image and there's a lot of white, which is controlled purely by the exposure. The grey controls the blacks. So there we are, 2 minutes. We'll take this little test strip into the stop and fix, and I'll show you it in some white light. Okay, just a quick fix for a test strip, and we'll go into some white light. Into some water to assess the exposures. So we've got too dark to too light, which is good. It's looking like 20 seconds is around about the working base exposure here. This is high key, so there's a lot of white on this image. The pale bleached sandstone was very light, but I want it to have a textural value, but I want the black erosion lines to be strong and clean. So 1 minute to go. "30 seconds left, not sure how much you can see under red light, but yeah, the paper white is leaving an edge there, so we've got some tone in the pale white sandstone. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. So here's image 2 going in. I've just made a test exposure. As expected, pretty similar to the original negative number 1, the first neg. But there was a little bit more density in this negative because I think the rock was slightly brighter. So anyway, this is f22, base exposure was 33 seconds with a little bit of edge burning. And I'm giving it 2 minutes and 15 seconds in the dev. Sorry about the background noise, by the way. The print wash is now running. So we're coming up to 2 minutes, and you can see the density is beautiful. I'm just going to pull that on to 10 into the fix. In the fix now. I can turn white light on off to 30 seconds. And there we have image number 2. Beautiful. Really love the strength of the lines. Just got a little bit of highlight in the sandstone. And as the print dries down, that's just going to fall down a little bit in value. So slightly pale here, but should dry down perfectly. We have the final negative, which has been printed pretty much the same exposure and treatment. 27 seconds for this exposure. It's much more delicate with a single black line in the pale sandstone. We should have a quick look at that in the light. Very delicate, beautiful tones, so soft. One single line, which is what I was interested in. So this trilogy kind of goes in complexity from a simple line to slightly more complex configuration into the final image, which is a mesh of black line. Just a little story I liked when I saw it. So there we have the washed prints that have been washing for an hour in the print washer. And I've just done a darker and a lighter exposure of each print. I think these will dry down fine. I want to see how they dry down. But yeah, I'm really liking the 3 as a trilogy. beautifully simple, exactly what I wanted. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me make these prints, and indeed make the images from start to finish, shooting the film, processing the film, and making final prints. So here are the 3 dry mounted prints on some museum board, all ready to go into a frame. Nice little trilogy. So there we have it, dry mounted fibre based print, all ready to frame.